Hello everyone, welcome to RMIT Open Day. My name's Bronwyn Tanti and I'm the Program Manager of Community Services and Youth Work Programs, and I'm joined today by my colleague Gwen Causey, who will talk to you later about some of the programs that she's Program Manager. What I'm going to talk to you today about is some of our key programs: community services, youth work, financial counselling, alcohol and other drugs, and then Gwen will talk to you about individual support and disability. We'll provide an overview of the programs. There's a chat function if you'd like to ask any questions while we're going along, and if not, there'll be an opportunity at the end for us to address any of the key questions. Great. Before I start, RMIT University would like to acknowledge the people of the Woiwurrung and Boonwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation, on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT University respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders, past and present, and also acknowledges the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia where we conduct our business. RMIT is committed to reconciliation and is committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working and being to support sustainable reconciliation and activate a relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students and community. All right, now we're going to get into the presentation. I'm going to talk about each program individually and then talk about some of the key things that go across all the programs. The first one that we're going to touch on is community services. The Certificate 4 in Community Services is an entry-level program, and we call it a bit of a taster test. It covers all aspects of the community sector to give you an idea of the vast and breadth of the sector and all the different jobs that you can go into. Part of this certificate, you'll learn with a person-centred approach. All our teachers are from the sector, so they all have currency within. They're currently working in the areas of which they're teaching and have a broad range of skills and expertise. It's a free TAFE qualification, so the Certificate 4 falls in the government's free TAFE list and is identified as an area of growth. It also has a pathway, which we'll talk about later, into the Diploma of Community Services. Next slide, please, Saya. Thank you. The other community services program we run at RMIT is the Diploma of Community Services Case Management Stream. So the diploma is targeted to those that are already in the sector and would like a qualification to support their role, or to increase your skill development and job opportunity after completing the Certificate 4. It prepares people to work in a range of organisations, doing casework, client services, youth and family support services, migration work, as well as education and development projects. So during the diploma, you'll have the opportunity as well to participate in the sector by undertaking a compulsory placement, which we'll also talk about a little bit later on. Next slide, please. Thank you. These are some of the key areas that we cover in the Certificate 4 and the diploma. So we have specific units around alcohol and other drugs, homelessness, counselling, debriefing, mental health, and domestic and family violence. And then we have some core units around sociology, reflective practice, and work health and safety, legal and ethical compliance. So by the time you've finished your either Cert 4 or diploma, you have a really good understanding of all the areas within the community sector and gives you the basic grounding and understanding to be able to work in an area of your choice based on the units that you've enjoyed doing. Next slide, please. The Certificate 4 in Community Services runs for 1 full year, starting in February and finishing in November. There are no prerequisites for entry, but you would be required to submit a personal statement outlining your interest in the community sector and why you'd like to undertake the program. The Diploma of Community Services also goes for 1 year. In order to gain entry into the diploma, you need to either have a relevant Cert 4, which is in community services, youth work, AOD, something along those lines, or you must have a minimum of 2 years experience in the community sector. That can be volunteering or paid work. So to apply for that one, you would submit a personal statement outlining your experience and attach a CV, or you would enter based on your current Certificate 4 qualification. Thanks, Sarah. Pathway options for these programs is the Certificate 4 in Community Services offers an automatic pathway into the Diploma of Community Services or the Diploma of Youth Work. In order to complete both of those programs, it would take you 2 years. And if you transition from the Certificate 4 in Community Services into one of our diplomas, depending which one, you also get some credits off. From there, the Certificate 4, if you want a pathway into a bachelor's program, the Diploma of Community Services has an automatic pathway into the Bachelor of Social Work honours degree at RMIT with 3 credits off. And the Diploma of Youth Work will transition into youth studies, so depending on which path you go down. Thanks, Sarah. Some of the jobs that the majority of our students find after participating in these programs at RMIT is they get casework roles, working with newly arrived people and migration support, welfare and family support workers, family violence workers, and community development and project type work. Thank you. Next slide. All right, now I'm going to talk about our youth work programs, which along with our community services programs are very popular. We have the Certificate 4 in youth work. Excuse me. Again, the Certificate 4 is on the free TAFE list currently with the government. It is a growing area, and it is one that if you are particularly interested in a career working with young people, which are classified between the age of 10 and 25, this is an ideal qualification for you to undertake. There's many opportunities and diverse roles within the youth work sector: health and welfare, development and protection needs of young people, community development work, which you can enter into. All our teachers, again, have either experience currently in the sector or have come from a youth work background, so teaching you the most up-to-date and relevant things that you need to know to become a youth worker. And there's also a practical work placement, which I'll talk about a bit later on. Thanks, Saya. We also offer the Diploma of Youth Work at RMIT, which again is the next level up from the Certificate 4. So the Certificate 4 is the entry-level program into youth work, and the Diploma of Youth Work provides you with advanced skills for your practice as a youth worker. Oh, excuse me. The major strength of this course is its flexible delivery and its links with industry. It has a large placement again. Many people are already working in the sector if they've undertaken their diploma, so they can undertake their placement at their workplace or count their hours towards that. And it definitely leads to a further career and further study in the youth work area. Thanks, Saya. Again, across the Cert 4 and Diploma of Youth Work, we cover a vast array of areas, which gives you a good grounding and holistic approach to the many areas within the youth work field. We cover domestic and family violence, planning and conducting group work and activities, alcohol and other drugs, crisis work, homelessness, and then specific units, of course, around working with young people, engaging with at-risk young people, and working in a trauma-informed care approach within the youth sector. And we also do cover outreach work, which is another key area of work roles when you come out of working, studying youth work. Thanks, Sia. To get into either of these programs, we'll start with the Cert 4. That should say Certificate 4 in Youth Work, so I do apologise. I've just picked up on that area. Again, it's a 1-year full-time program. The prerequisite for youth work is just purely around age, because there's a placement component in the Cert 4. In order to do placement, somebody needs to be 18 years or older. So you do need to be 18 years to apply for this, but there's no other minimum requirement. And again, you'll apply by submitting a personal statement with your application. The Diploma of Community Services is also 1 year full-time. You need to have a relevant Cert 4, which is Cert 4 in Youth Work, Cert 4 Community Services, or AOD, Mental Health, or you can come in based on your current work experience or volunteer work in the sector. Again, you need to be 18 years because of the component around placement requirements. Thank you, Sarah. Pathways. So the Certificate 4 of Youth Work pathways into the Diploma of Youth Work at RMIT. It also articulates into the Diploma of Community Services casework, so you can have your choice which you go into. The Diploma of Youth Work is not on the free TAFE list currently, but yes. And then the Diploma of Youth Work articulates directly into the Bachelor of Youth Work and Youth Studies at RMIT. So if you wish to continue on with your studies, either part-time while you're working or full-time and gain your Bachelor, then that's that opportunity at RMIT as well. Thank you, Sarah. Careers from undertaking youth work at RMIT are roles such as Youth Services Coordinator, Youth Housing Support, Youth Mental Health Workers, Juvenile Justice Workers, and Community Development work within the sector, all working again specifically with adolescents aged between 10 and 25. Thank you, Sarah. One of our other very popular programs at RMIT is the Diploma of Financial Counselling. The Diploma of Financial Counselling is targeted for people who are interested in helping people who face financial difficulty. The words financial counselling know exactly what it's about. It's got a high component of counselling attached to the qualification, general counselling as well as specific counselling around financial and legal implications for people. If you undertake this course, you'll be gaining all the skills and knowledge required as a qualified financial counsellor. This is a minimum requirement to work as a financial counsellor in the sector. Again, the teachers who teach in this program are all from the sector, so are currently working, current practitioners, and come in to teach specific units that they currently work in. If you're interested in financial counselling, you would be interested in law and policy. You'll learn things about credit law, enforcement practices, bankruptcy, and work with people in hardship. Thank you, Sarah. Some of the key areas that you'll learn whilst undertaking the Diploma of Financial Counselling is around specific legal skills to do with the financial counselling area, counselling skills, advocacy, debriefing, and then because of the clientele, we also cover units around homelessness, diversity, mental health, and of course community development. The Diploma of Financial Counselling can be undertaken either full-time or part-time. To undertake it full-time, it takes you 1 year, or you can do it 2 years part-time. There are no prerequisites. However, the majority of people who do the Diploma of Financial Counselling come with previous experience of work, not necessarily straight from school. So you need to have been engaged in a work role that ensures that you have the ability to make independent judgments and decision making, that you can apply relevant technical skills to a job role, and that you have some knowledge of what's involved in the broader community sector and financial counselling area. Career outcomes are again in family violence, problem gambling, fines, the payday lending services, elder abuse, and it's definitely a growing field, and one that is currently being looked at and more funding available for the sector from the government. It is, however, at the present time not on the free TAFE list. Thanks, Saya. And the final program I'm going to talk to you about today is alcohol and other drugs. RMIT currently runs the Certificate 4 in alcohol and other drugs. Sorry, Saya, we'll go to the next slide. Thank you. So again, this is a Certificate 4 qualification that is on the free TAFE list at the present time. It allows you to get a job within the AOD sector, and it contains the four minimum units that you need in order to meet the mandatory qualification to work in the sector. So you need to have the Cert 4 to get a job in the AOD sector, and this qualification has that skill set embedded. The other thing we do is we run the youth mental health first aid within this program as an extra component of it. Once again, all our teachers come from the AOD sector, are current in their work practice, and we pull in a lot of guest speakers who are currently working in the many areas of the sector. This program can pathway into the Diploma of Community Services or the Diploma of Youth Work. At the present time, we don't run the Diploma of AOD. We purely run that to industry. Thank you, Sarah. So again, it's a one-year full-time program, no prerequisites to enter. That should say Certificate 4, sorry. And you just simply need to apply with submitting a personal statement about your interest and why you're keen on undertaking the Certificate 4 in alcohol and other drugs. Next slide, please. Some of the areas of which you'll find work with your Certificate 4 is in detox and rehab services, psychosocial support services, so day programs, residential programs, outreach programs, recreation programs, justice, housing, and local government. All right, so they're all the programs that we run within the community services area, and most of them run in a very similar way, so I'm going to talk to you about how they run. When we say they're full-time, they are all full-time programs, and we run 3 full days per week. It's 3 hours class in the morning, 3-hour class in the afternoon, consolidated into 3 days. Mostly we deliver face-to-face. Of course, that hasn't been the case recently, but we're hoping to be back face-to-face, and some of the units will have a blended model where you'll come in face-to-face for your practical demonstration component, and some of the content and theory will be delivered online via our online platform that we use at RMIT. The model of design of our programs tends to be that we start with the introductory core units and build skills and knowledge into the more specific and more in-depth units in the second semester. We also include research projects, group presentations, simulated workplace scenarios, some knowledge and short answer quests, and do a lot of case studies to around best practice and our best way of modelling actual workplace scenarios. Thank you, Sarah. Industry connections. We have a lot of industry connections in the sector. So as I say, all the teachers either currently work in their areas that they're teaching, or they have come from that sector. We pull in guest speakers as often as we can who talk to you about what's going on in the sector at the present time. We have industry panel days where we can. We have excursions and field trips as well. Many of our programs have what we call work integrated learning, which is placement, and it varies depending on the program from 40 hours up to 220 hours. So in brief, we have Certificate 4 in Youth Work has a placement that the minimum number is 40 hours, up to 80 hours of placement attached. The Diploma of Community Services, Diploma of Youth Work, and Diploma of Financial Counselling all have mandatory placements varying in hours from 100 up to 220 hours. And that's either undertaken within your 3 days or on the other days that you're not required to be in class. So depending on the program, each of them are structured a little bit differently. We have a dedicated will team who support with the processes and requirements of placement, which I'll go on to in the next slide. And then we have dedicated teachers who assist people to be able to find placement. Thanks, Sarah. Some of the mandatory requirements around placement before you can undertake placement is that you need a working with children's check and a police check. So again, our dedicated will team assists you in how to get these, but without a working with children's check and without a police check, you can't undertake placement. So they're two mandatory things that we require you to get. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, that's it for me. So I will now pass you on to Gwen Causey, who's going to talk to you about individual support and disability, and I'll come back at the end and address any questions. Thank you. Over to you, Gwen. Gwen, I'm just going to jump in and let you know you're on mute.
Sorry, thank you. Okay, I'll start that again. So thanks very much, Bronwyn, and hello, my name is Gwen Causey and I'm the Programme Manager for the Certificate 3 in Individual Support Ageing and Disability Programmes here at RMIT University. Today I'm going to give you an overview of the programmes that we have here at RMIT. Thank you, Sia. Okay, so the Certificate 3 in Individual Support Ageing, the number of Australians aged between 65 and over is projected to be more than double by the year 2054. To respond to this record growth, to ensure that the future generations receive the care they need as they grow older, we need to build a skilled and experienced aged care workforce. Individual support workers play a vital role in helping to meet the needs of our ageing population. They are empathetic, patient and detailed orientated carers who assist in promoting the wellbeing and independence of older people. The programs give you the theory, skills and practice required to begin a rewarding career in the aged care sector. This course reflects the role of a support worker in residential setting who follows individualised care plans to assist older people. These plans outline their strengths, difficulties, goals and service preferences, ensuring they receive individualised care. This programme is a combination of online delivery, practical labs and work placement, and we'll talk about that later. Some of the unique aspects of the programme are extensive work placement component to ensure graduates are work ready at a residential aged care facility. This is usually 120 hours of work placement. RMIT instructors supported online learning, allowing students to fit study around work and family commitments. Practical assessments are conducted in a combination of online, on campus and in residential aged care facilities. Next slide, thank you. We have some very good industry connections, and RMIT's individual support programs have been developed with a significant industry input. All programs content delivery and assessment is informed by industry through a program advisory committee. Both programs are nationally accredited, enabling graduates to work anywhere in Australia. The programs are designed to prepare students for employment in the industry, with a focus of practical skills through work integrated learning, placements in aged care and disability organisations. The disability specialisation was added to introduce you to disability work as demands increase, with a rollout of the National Disability Insurance Scheme. The programme also includes specialist content provided by the Women with Disabilities Victorian Aboriginal community controlled health organisations and experts by experience. Thank you. Our next intake for these programmes is the 7th of February 2022 and the 4th of July. So we have 2 intakes, although we do have industry-based groups coming through as well. Next, please. Next, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and if you have any questions, please continue to ask those questions. Thanks very much, Bronwyn.
Thanks, Gwen. All right, well, that's the end of our presentation. So we can now, if you've got any questions in particular that haven't been answered, I'll jump in and have a look. But if you would like to ask anything in particular, if not, please feel free to go onto the RMIT website, where all these programs are on the website with a lot more information, a lot more detail about particular units, the structure, how it all works. And then if you have any further questions from there, you can contact RMIT Connect, who put you in touch with the right people. Thank you. Any questions? Oh, we do have one about placement that I'll quickly answer, because that is, I understand most people will be wondering how we've managed to do placement in the current COVID times. We had last year and this year where we needed to work with students and organisations in order to get them through a placement opportunity. And I'm pleased to say we've managed to do that with an awful lot of students that we have. So organisations were they had to be working in an environment that required them to work with clients online. They were still happy to take on students. There was a lot more paperwork that we have to do in order to get students a placement, but we have managed to get majority of our students through placement in an online environment. And at the present time, we're working with students to either do an online placement with organisations, or many organisations are still open and working because they're essential services and they're still happy to take students. So it just takes a little bit more time. It's a bit harder to find placement, but we've put in some extra resources around people to work with students in order to assist them. Any other? All right, well, maybe we'll wrap it up, and I'll just stay back for 5 minutes and respond to any questions that are in the chat function that we haven't been able to answer, and Gwen can do the same in regard to her program. Oh, Melinda's put in a very quick question about the difference between Community Services Diploma of Case Management and a general diploma in Community Services. The main difference is that the electives are chosen around case management work. The sector identifies that doesn't matter what area you work in now, you have to work with clients through a process that aligns with a case management process. So it doesn't mean you're definitely a case manager as such, but you work with clients from the beginning of their issue through to either a referral or end process. So RMIT, in line with what industry requested, offers the case management stream rather than the generic stream. All right. Thank you very much for coming, and have a look at the website. If you have anything else, let us know.
Thank you.
Bye.